So collaborating with robots is great. It's really fun and collaborative and productive, but sometimes robots don't know where to draw the line. So this next worm programming collaborative robots through manual actions for craft-aligned digital fabrication, which will be presented today by Sam Bourgault. All right, thank you. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, my name is Sam. I just started a postdoc a month ago, but this work was conducted as part of my PhD in Media Arts and Technology at UC Santa Barbara. So today I'm presenting Worm Programming Collaborative Robot through manual action for craft-aligned digital fabrication on behalf of my co-authors Alejandro Aponte, Megumi Ondo, Emilie, and Jennifer Jacobs. So digital fabrication offers many opportunities for low-volume craft production. Craft-aligned digital fabrication, however, requires a workflow that can flexibly support manual and computational operations. Yet, existing digital fabrication machines are not designed to easily integrate manual production to automated machine behaviors. Unlike other off-the-shelf machines, collaborative robots, also known as cobots, are well-suited for craft-aligned digital fabrication. They are designed to assist humans in various tasks by supporting safe and adaptable interaction. They can also enable rapid and frequent task reconfigurations and can be manually driven through human actions. Oops, I forgot to. While cobots' behavior are often programmed through a symbolic interface on a computer screen, researchers and engineers try to reduce the challenges of cobot programming through programming by demonstration. For instance, by manually moving the robot through specific trajectory point in space. But both symbolic and demonstration-based programming methods, however, are typically task-based. They support higher-level instruction, like calibrate the workspace or pick up this object, which does not enable craft people to specify detailed fabrication actions required for precise material manipulation. And by action here, I mean, for instance, a brush stroke or one carving of a piece of wood. Prior work in interactive fabrication has shown how systems that combine manually defined actions and automated machine operation can support creative digital fabrication workflows and enable individuals with expertise in material production to translate these skills to machine operation. However, these tools provide limited ways for artists to create complex design by engaging both manual action and computational expression. So to create new opportunities for craft-aligned digital fabrication, we propose that a system that allows artists to computationally modify their manual craft action could enable them to apply cobot to skilled manual fabrication. And to investigate this idea, we developed the Workflow-Oriented Robotic Manufacturing System, or WORM for short. The worm system enables artists to manipulate the robot's hand effector like a manual tool to define low-level craft action with a custom handle interface. Here, the artist demonstrates a linear stroke action to the robot using a watercolor brush and records it into our system. The system enables artists to use craft action to describe automated robot behavior through a set of spatial procedural repetitions. For each mode, the artist can spatially define the starting point, translational offset, or other type of repetition parameter by manually moving the robot arm in space. Here, the artist defines the point of rotation of a repetition by positioning the robot above that point. Then, through a menu-based computer interface, the artist specifies the rotation angle and number of repetition and preview the robot action on the screen. The artist can press on the play button on our interface to repeat the new craft action instances. Here, they're also intervening manually in the process by adding watercolor to the piece as the robot repeats the action. Our system offers 7 repetition modes, including repeating along a direction and repeating along an axis. The worm system also allows artists to create more complex structures by saving repeated action as compound actions. Here, the artist repeats a small petal action around an axis to create a cherry blossom. Then they save this repetition as a compound action, which they can then repeat further. In this example, they repeat the cherry blossom around specific points that were previously determined by moving the robot to these points and saving the points into the system. To facilitate manual interaction with the robot, we created a custom handle controller that enables artists to grasp the robot's end effector, flexibly change tools, trigger commands, and robot states. We use a trigger on the right handle of the controller to start and stop the recording of an action, and a joystick to use the robot as a jig by locking specific planes of motion. To assess the expressiveness and adaptability of our system, we produce 4 demonstrative examples showing worms' applicability to various types of craft. Here I show the fabrication of a slip cast cup. We first attach a hot wire cutter to our handle controller to carve a foam prototype that then we use to cast a plaster mold to create the final cup that will be shown in 1 second, I think. Oh, I spoke too fast. So here's and I have the artifact with me if you want to see it and touch it after the talk. We also made a symmetrical 2-part mold to create a vase using a physical jig when moving the robot to define the half perimeter of the vase, as you can see in the little video here. We made a textured cup by carving multiple patterns in foam and then pressing a clay slab into it, and then we formed it by hand. And the system was evaluated through a 3-hour preliminary study with a professional painter and a 4-hour expert evaluation with a professional ceramicist to better understand the implication of using craft action as input to a robot. From the analysis of these results, we conceptualized 3 design guidelines. Today I'll cover the first and second quickly. So first, we found that implementing craft action as a programming primitive relocated spatial operations, which are normally defined in CAD, to the physical space. For instance, for the texture cup artifact, we tested 3 options for the inclination of the diamond shape by comparing it directly next to previously carved shell on a foam test piece before creating the final piece and choosing the preferred option. We also observed that using manual action as input to the computational system driving the robot provides real-time insight into the relationship between the tool and the material. For instance, rather than setting feed rates and speed as a number like in conventional CAM software, Worm allowed the artist to empirically determine these settings by receiving direct feedback from the material and the tool, like how much the foam burns or the hot wire bends, depending based on the speed the artist is moving the tool. So I'll skip this. The second guideline relates to the benefits and limitations associated with manually defining actions. For instance, this approach allowed computational limitation to be addressed using manual strategies. Artists in our study used manual sketching on the manufactured material as a guiding indication to direct the cobot when recording an action. The painter first drew a grid to guide his next painting action. The ceramicist drew a circle to identify the base of their foam prototype. And I drew the profile of the 2-part mold vase to follow the curve for the profile of that vase. This shows how, unlike conventional CAD/CAM CNC workflow, artists using Worm can avoid the need for extensive pre-planning in software and respond quickly to unplanned results during fabrication. So we hope that this work inspires the HCI community to continue exploring how cobots can support this low-friction, iterative transition between manual and robotic fabrication. Thank you. Please read our paper.
Hi, Sam. Great work. Jingile from Pomona College. I wanted to ask about the embodiment aspects of this robot. Like, having used the demo, I feel like pushing a heavy thing with both hands is way different than just like drawing with an ink on a page. So did the artist sort of like reflect on that, how it changed their creative practice, or even you, because you use the robot so much?
Yes. Excellent question. so through the few hours user study, we realized that the artists were slowly getting like a better stand and start to like lean on the table to get like anchored while they were using the robots. So there was definitely like a learning curve in using something new that is not necessarily the tools that they're used to. I think what your question is also leads to future work where would be interesting to have the end effector being the tool itself that you can like move around instead of these, or maybe both, but having the option to, in the context of like drawing, being able to like use the pen, having like support from the robot rather than like the kind of drop down of gravity, and then maybe using the handle for like other type of operation.
Hi. Oh, I'm here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Ken from
Hi.
Michigan. I actually had the exact same question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, each answer. But could you elaborate a little bit more? Because I think, yeah, especially I think the current system is pretty like 3-degree of freedom movement. But I think when we create things, it's more 6-degree freedom. Is it? Yeah. Is it a system limitation? Have you tried a little bit, or like is it really hard to? What's like a technical challenge to it?
So it becomes a little bit harder to control the robot when there's like additional degrees of freedom. So like if you add all the rotation possible, it becomes hard unless you have the specific center of gravity or of your tool, and then the robot can accommodate for that a little bit. We played with rotation for 3D object, but for 2D art, it at least at this stage it was too complex. But it would like adding this complexity would really push the system further. So
great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We have about 45 seconds if anyone has a really quick question.
Have you had a chance to play with the Da Vinci machine? No. It's a robotic surgical machine. Oh, yeah. You should, they're pretty, they'll let you use it if you want to try it. Okay. Yeah.
Someone told me about that before related to this project. I'll check it out. Thanks.
So sustainable